What's your name?
Emma.
Name.
Tessa.
Emma.
My name is Dylan.
Do you ever feel objectified by men?
Yes, but probably not as often as other people.
It happens.
Have you ever been stereotyped, and if so, what for?
Well, there's always like those teenage guys I feel like who sometimes think that you won't run as fast as them or like be as good in sports sometimes, and they kind of feel like entitled to that opinion or whatever, but
I was at a party once and I spilt my drink on the floor, so I started cleaning it up, and there was these guys that looked at me and told me to stay on my knees on the floor. Not the best experience, but...
Do you think that the media today plays a role in stereotyping women?
Definitely.
Women?
Yeah. Well, I think it objectifies them a lot. Like when Billie Eilish, the first time she was ever seen going out in a tank top and everyone went crazy over that. Or how a lot of young kind of female stars, people will count down and wait for them to turn 18 so they can start sexualizing them legally.
Definitely. Like every time you go on social media, you see a certain image of a woman or even a guy, whatever, and like you just feel like if you don't look like that, like they're successful and everything, and if you don't look like that, then you're never going to be successful.
I think it gives off an image, like an unattainable image for young women.
According to an article by Julie Stankiewicz called Women as Sex Objects and Victims in Print Advertisements, the content analysis examined the depiction of women in 1988 advertisements from 58 popular U.S. magazines. For example, in their comparison of magazine advertisements from 1983 to those from 1958 and 1970, Sullivan and O'Connor, 1988, found a 60% increase in images that portrayed women in decadent and sexualized roles. More recently, Millard and Grant, 2006, reported that approximately 30% of advertisements in 3 popular U.S. women's fashion magazines featured nude or scantily clad women, and Lindner reported that more than half of advertisements in a popular U.S. women's magazines portrayed women as objects. These statistics make it very clear that there is a huge discrimination, objectification, and devaluation of the female gender in our society. This can be explained by many factors of our sociocultural lifestyle, but one of the main ones is media. According to The Technology of Gender by Teresa De Laurentiis, author and distinguished professor, the representation of gender is its construction. She also mentions that the construction of gender goes on today as much as it is used in the earlier times. In simple words, this means that the representation of gender is built up by media, Western arts and culture, and this construction of gender is not dying down. In the media today, we see many ways in which women are objectified, stereotyped, and this leads to their devaluation. Some examples of the stereotyping of women and representation of gender in film is in the film Legally Blonde, where Elle has to drive to overcome the dumb blonde stereotype. When she is seen sitting in the classroom with her legs crossed and taking notes on a heart-shaped notebook, she is only later to be kicked out by the professor for not being prepared. In this clip, she is treated in a way that projects the judgment of her professor and peers as being a woman who is seen as the typical blonde female stereotype. Another example would be the film Indiana Jones, during which the time period in the movie series takes place when women were being sexualized. Because it was filmed when it was apparent that women were being stereotyped in a negative way, there are many examples. During the bar scene, where a drinking competition is taking place, the woman is stereotyped that she won't be able to beat the man. She was discouraged until everyone was left in shock when she beat him, showcasing the stereotype that a woman can't beat a man at his own game. This type of construction of gender leads the viewers to believe that the female gender is what is shown on screen. It leads to massive mistreatment of women and injustice towards the female gender in our society.